be the real thing. Tell me now, what's on your mind? Whisper soft to me that you want me. There's magic in your fingertips, it's magic when we kiss. I can be myself with you, kiss me now, I insist. Make me yours, just take me now, I'm helpless to resist. Got me so invested in this thing, it's more than just a fling. It's more than just a fling. It's more than just a fling. I can't help that it is more than just a fling. Now I know that it's the real thing, the real thing. Take your time, I'm on a high, high. My body yearns for you to touch me. No, there's magic in your fingertips, it's magic when we kiss. I can be myself with you, kiss me now, I insist. Make me yours, just take me now, I'm helpless to resist. Got me so invested in this thing, it's more than just a fling. It's more than just a fling. It's more than just a fling. I can't help that it is more than just a fling. Now I know that it's the real thing, the real thing.
You've been married a long time. A lot of people may not know that you've been married a long time. What are some of the things you felt like you had to change about your personality in order to be more appeasing to your husband?
Absolutely, and that's a great question. I've been married for over almost 22 years now. We've been married. And for me, I had to learn how to let my guard down. I had to learn how to be completely vulnerable with him. I had to learn how to be quiet sometimes, not
That's
always.
tough.
It
All
is.
It are like, tell them to shut up. They won't shut up.
Why
Why can we not shut up?
Because I think that we just feel like we just have to be heard.
Yeah.
And you do have to be heard. But there's a point where, for me personally, he's the head of my household. Point blank, period. He's the head, right? And so although I need him to hear where I'm coming from, there's a way in which I have to communicate with him in order for him to hear it. So if I'm just rah-rah and I'm just going at it, and I'm not being respectful, I'm yelling, and there's just nothing being accomplished, then why would he hear me?
Exactly.
Why would he
That's
make
good.
any changes? Good. All of that, right? So I had to learn how to be quiet. I had to learn to pick my battles.
How did you learn? How did you learn this? Because we're not taught. So how did you learn?
I learned it from him.
Okay. You had to be obedient to him at some point.
I learned it from him.
Hi, everybody. Please put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Please put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Welcome to Bella's Corner. I'm Bella, where the truth is delivered with love. I am so happy you're here. Welcome. Welcome if you're new. Welcome if you just returned, as if you're a regular. I'm so happy to be back. I told y'all I'm back. I promise consistency, but I told y'all I'm back. And I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for being here, Dre of Harrison Family Values. Good to see you. Thank you for being a channel member as well, sir. Hello, Fun Jams. Good to see you. Hello, Mrs. O, and congratulations on starting your YouTube channel. Hello, Brianna. Good to see you. Hi, Travis. Thank you so much for stopping in. As you're coming in, please send my likes up through the roof, roof, roof. Send my likes up through the roof, roof, roof. Send my likes up through the roof. I'm so happy to be here. Okay, great. You can hear me. Hello, wonderfully and beautifully made. Hey, skinny boy. Thank you for stopping in, everyone. Hey, 1D Forever. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a minute. Okay, fantastic. Skinny said, looking heavenly in that all white. Well, hallelujah, amen. I'm so happy to be here. Okay, so we have a good one today. So if you were here from the very beginning, I played a clip from a conversation between Mrs2WeeksOut and another young lady whose video I've used. I have no idea what her name is. I recognize her face, but I believe she is some sort of coach. But shout out to her for getting Mrs2WeeksOut on Instagram Live to have a conversation with her about femininity and relationships. So I am familiar with, if you've paid attention to the thumbnail, I am slightly familiar with Mrs. Two Times Out. She and her husband, not like super, but as far as I understand, she and her husband, they're personal trainers. They own some type of personal fitness, personal training company or brand. Mrs. 2 weeks Out, she does hold fitness classes, and she and her husband, as you may have heard in the clip, they've been married for over 20 years. They have 2 children, 1 boy, 1 girl. They're around 18, 19-ish. They're almost, pretty much grown. And honestly, when I see them on Instagram, you can tell that their love is genuine, that the respect is there, the chemistry is there. And I think they are a beautiful couple. And so I really thought this tip would be awesome to bring to the forefront, to chat about, and to, of course, point out some things that I think could certainly benefit the ladies who come back and forth to my channel. And I know I have some married men in my chat. I know I have some married women in the chat. So of course, I would love for all of you to chime in on the conversation, put your pointers and advice in as well. So yes, please like the video, as Miss FemGems said. And before I break up the clip, I want this to resonate in your mind, ladies, especially to the sisters. Look at this. Black women dealing with trauma and suffering. Society. You're so strong. And that is what women, especially sisters, look like when you are yelling and proclaiming to the top of your lungs that you are strong and independent and don't need no man, don't need nobody. Okay, you're drowning. You clearly seem to need help, but no, you got it, girl. You strong. So keep that in mind. Femininity is beautiful. Vulnerability is not a weakness in every aspect. Being feminine is not a weakness. It is a strength. Being submissive, being able to be vulnerable when it's appropriate, right? Again, is a strength. It is not a weakness. Be wise in your vulnerability, but it's okay. And you can, of course, seem like or be the damsel in distress with your man. If you cannot be vulnerable with him, why are you with him? If you cannot trust this man with your emotions, and I'm not saying that he may not need work, he may not need, for lack of a better term, training on how to handle your emotions, because he still has to get to know you just as you have to get to know him. And as we grow and age and become more wise and experienced in life, we evolve. So we change. So there's still some sort of consistent training that couples have to do in relationship, in marriage. But if you cannot trust him, and if you're not willing to communicate how you need to be treated, then why are you with him? Or maybe you should gain some patience. Maybe you should check your vulnerability. Maybe you should check how effective or ineffective your communicative skills are. Okay? So I thought that was kind of like a funny little depiction of the strong and independent woman. Okay, so let's get into this clip. This is, again, Mrs2WeeksOut at the bottom of the screen. Let's see what she has to say.
You've been married a long time. A lot of people may not know that you've been married a long time. What are some of the things you felt like you had to change about your personality in order to be more appeasing to your husband?
Absolutely, and that's a great question. I've been married for over almost 22 years now. We've been married. And for me, I had to learn how to let my guard down. I had to learn how to be completely vulnerable with him. I had to learn how to be quiet sometimes, not
That's
always.
Tough.
It is.
It are like, tell them to shut up. They won't shut up.
Why
can we not shut up?
Because I think that we just feel like we just have to be heard. Yeah. And you do have to be heard. But there's a point where, for me personally, he's the head of my household. Point blank, period. He's the head, right? And so although I need him to hear where I'm coming from, there's a way in which I have to communicate with him in order for him to hear it. So if I'm just rah-rah and I'm just going at it, and I'm not being respectful, I'm yelling, and there's just nothing being accomplished, then why would he hear me?
Exactly.
Why would he make any changes? All of that, right? So I had to learn how to be quiet. I had to learn to pick my battles.
How did you learn? How did you learn this? Because we're not taught. So how did you learn?
I learned it from him.
Okay. You had to be obedient to him at some point.
I learned it from him.
I love that. Okay, I wanted to go through it one more time because I know there's quite a few people who have logged in. So I wanted you to, to soak it all in. So we're going to talk about it. Hello, Brittany. I definitely need my husband. Don't know what I would do without him. I need that man. You hear me? I need that man. My husband has grown me up. I was ready to be a wife. I wanted to be his wife. I wanted to be a mother. But he definitely has matured me and helped me grow into the woman I see today. And we will continue to grow together. Yes, ma'am. I need my man. My man, my man, my man. A lion. I like that, Mrs. O. A lion can't hear a dragon. Okay. Just spitting out hot fire, destroying everything, tearing things down. I like that analogy. Hi, Thomas. All right, so let's go over it again. Let's go.
You've been married a long time. A lot of people may not know that you've been married a long time. What are some of the things you felt like you had to change about your personality in order to be more appeasing to your husband?
Absolutely, and that's a great question. I've been married for over almost 22 years now. We've been married. And for me, I had to learn how to let my guard down. I had to learn how to be completely vulnerable with him. I had to learn how to be quiet sometimes.
She said I had to be vulnerable. I had to let my guard down. And then she was getting to say, I had to learn to be quiet. Now, ladies, if you're not new here, excuse me. These are some things that you've heard time and time again. But as we know, repetition is the best way to learn. So she said, again, she had to be vulnerable. She had to let her guard down. So first you have to let your guard down. And then you can be vulnerable. And then from there, she had to learn to shut that peephole. So if I were to have kind of like a subtitle to this entire live stream, these are ways how your marriage can last a lifetime. As long as two people are willing to work with each other and to have effective communication and to adjust both ways, this is how it's going to work. You're not going to be perfect. Don't expect your spouse to be perfect, but both of you should put in the work. Okay. She said she had to let her guard down. That means she had to trust him. She had to be vulnerable, meaning ladies, we have to work on sometimes when we're emotional, because we get emotional quick. I'm emotional. But sometimes I have to step back and reflect on my emotions. Ladies, we've talked about emotional intelligence here. A part of emotional intelligence is being able to internalize how you feel, rationalize them, and get to the root. You may be angry or you may have been offended, but for what reason? Did you feel disrespected? Did you feel unheard? Did you feel insulted? You have to get to the root of the reason for your anger or for your reaction, or were you triggered? Were you taken back to your childhood in that moment because maybe you felt unheard or whatever your personal trauma is? What is the root cause of your reaction? What's even the secondary reason? And how can you effectively communicate that to him for him to understand? That's vulnerability. That's letting your guard down. She said she had to learn how to be quiet. And then the other woman at the top, she said, we got to shut up. How come we can't shut up? She said she had to learn to shut her yapper. Ladies, we have to work on that. And I know it's hard. Trust me. Trust me, girl. I know it's difficult. But I promise you, when you gain that self-control, that is what will cause you to grow in your wisdom. Close your yapper and open your ears. You cannot learn, you cannot receive information if you're doing this. What have I said before? A wise woman builds her home. A wise woman doesn't tear down her home, doesn't tear down her man verbally. Because when we get angry, when we get emotional, especially depending on the type of woman we are, how witty we may be, we can cut deep quick and cause fractures within the relationship. Ladies, you cannot spout off at the mouth out of anger and you think there's not going to be some form of consequence or repercussions to your words. You have the ability, ladies, just as he does. But again, of course, I'm talking to the ladies. Ladies, you have the ability not only to build your man up, build up his ego, to build up his trust with you, his confidence in you and in your union. But you also have the ability to tear him and the relationship down. You have you have the power to build him up or to tear him down. Let's not play these emotional, manipulative games by building him up and then when he makes you upset, tearing him down. That's abusive. And no one deserves that. Even if you do feel unheard, learn how to communicate effectively. When you learn how to control your mouth, that means you've learned how to control your emotions. You've learned how to internalize how your body is feeling. Again, back to emotional intelligence and dampening your reaction. Let's keep going.
Sometimes not
That's
always.
Tough.
It
All
is.
It are like, tell them to shut up. They won't shut up. Why can we not shut up?
Because I think that we just feel like we just have to be heard. Yeah. And you do have to be heard. But there's a point where, for me personally, he's the head of my household. Point blank, period. He's the head, right? And so, although I need him to hear where I'm coming from, there's a way in which I have to communicate with him in order for him to hear it. So if I'm just rah-rah and I'm just going at it, and I'm not being respectful, I'm yelling, I'm, and there's just nothing being accomplished, and why would he hear me?
Exactly.
That was so good. Eat it up, ladies. Eat it up. She says you should be heard. Yes, gentlemen, you should hear her. Because if she feels unheard, she doesn't feel respected. She doesn't feel considered. If she doesn't feel heard, she's not going to feel like she can trust you. She's not going to feel like she can be vulnerable with you. Right? If she feels unheard, that is one of the quickest ways to lose her heart. Gentlemen, hear me. And ladies, if and when you do feel unheard, because I'm going to say this. I trust my husband. I love my husband. I respect my husband. But sometimes I genuinely feel like he just doesn't understand me. He hurt my feelings because he didn't give me the response or the answer that I wanted. That doesn't mean he didn't hear you. But that means that perhaps there is another priority that he perhaps has to deal with prior to dealing with your emotions. And he understands you're being emotional. But I love how she said that if she's being rah, how is he going to hear you? Ladies, when we get too turned up, when we start yapping off at the mouth, being loud, not listening, not being quiet when he's responding, that is a quick way for him for his ears to just close up. I mean, he might stand there and he'll just let you go. And he don't hear nothing. He's shut you out. And he definitely isn't going to hear you then. And he may hear you say one particular thing and then he'll respond in a way that you don't want or don't appreciate. And then now you went from 8 to 15. And then that happens again. Then you go from 15 to 30. He's heated, you're heated. Sometimes we just need to shut our pie holes. We just need to be quiet, baby. Be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. Because I promise you, if you learn to be quiet, if you learn to listen, if you learn to just wait to express how you feel, he will hear you. And you two can solve the problem together. As I've said time and time again, it's you and him against the problem. Okay? You and him against the world. And I'm going to also say this. Sometimes when he's maybe having moments when he's angry or he's getting emotional in his way, it is important for us ladies to remember to sometimes don't respond as his wife. Don't respond as his girlfriend if you're, or whatever, if you're in the courting phase or whatever, right? Respond as his friend. Be his friend. Remove the offense and the emotions from it. And just be his friend. That is what can help him build his trust in you. And that is also what is going to help you deal with the way he processes his emotions. Don't always respond as the emotional wife, as the emotional woman. Take in what he's saying. Listen to receive information. Don't just listen to respond. Analyze what he's saying. Maybe ask a question if you need some clarification. Communication, effective communication is dialogue. Not just I'm saying how I feel and he says how he feels and neither of you are receiving the information about one another in order to, again, get to some sort of resolve. Okay. Hey, game changer. Hi, Mark. Good to see everyone. I'm so happy everyone's here. Boop. Hey, Alexander. We are doing good. Thank you so much, Mark. Shout out to you, Game Changer, for the donation to the platform. Thank you so much, sir, and good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Ladies, this is a real one. Take notes. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm trying to help. We're awakening the wife within you, ladies. That is my goal here. I'm coming to you as your sister, as your coach, as your friend, as the person you need in your life who you may not have in person, who's going to help you become the woman that you want to be and need to be for yourself and for your relationship and even your children. Listen, the patience that I have gained in being with my husband, it helps me be a mom. And my youngest is walking now. And so I've got 2 toddlers walking around as cute as pie, 2 little brown little babies. But it takes a lot of patience to be a mom. But I gained that skill, if you will, by, again, being with my husband first. As well as the temperament that requires being a mom, 2 little boys. So sometimes they're whining, and sometimes I'm just like, I do not want to hear this whining, because I hear whining all day because I stay at home with them, as most of you know. But sometimes I have to step back, take a quick breath, and ask my oldest toddler, because he can speak, what's wrong? Tell me what you need. Because I have emotions just like he does. My husband has emotions just like he does, but they're just exemplified, or they come out a different way because of different ages and things of that nature, right? So the patience that I need in order to deal with my children, I also implement that with when I'm speaking to or interacting with my husband. Okay, I understand. Let me hear him out. Do you need anything? Let me not cut him off. Let's not interject. That's another thing, ladies. We need to work on interjecting. Let that man speak. You don't need to interject 50 gabillion zillion times, because he's going to get tired of that. He's going to get tired of you interjecting all the time, because it's not going to be interjecting and trying to have a conversation. It's you're cutting him off. And he's going to deem that as being disrespectful. So again, that ties into shutting your mouth, girl. I'm just saying, I'm trying to help you. Hear me out. Hear me out. Travis says, Proverbs 21:9, it is better to dwell in the corner of a housetop than in the home with a brawling woman. Yeah. Women, we can tear up, and we can build up, and we can tear down. That's the power that we hold. A soft answer turns away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. Exactly. That's why it's important, ladies, to learn how to be quiet and to listen, and then to respond in a way that he'll receive it, so you won't anger him more. Because I'm going to say this. Sometimes, ladies, when we talk too much, or when our tone is disrespectful in our body language, when we get sister girl, right? And when that volume goes up a little bit too high, when he has to deal with that constantly, you could eventually drive him not to like you. Did you hear me? Did you hear me? You could drive that man not to like you.
Oh, I can feel that from where I am.
And you don't want that to happen, right? But we're not going to let that happen, because you're here at Bella's Corner learning to just be quiet, to listen. Because maybe you may not be able to get your point out now, but you can get it out later, sis. She said that there is a way for him to hear her. So, for example, and of course, I'm going to use myself. So, me and my husband, we were at an airport, and we needed to kind of get a move on, and we got the babies, and so I'm pushing the stroller, and my husband's pushing the bags on the little cart thing, and my husband's tall, and I'm short, so it's almost like I had to sprint to keep up with this man, okay? And I'm pregnant, so I'm just like, can you slow? Like, he's going so fast. So he's on a mission, and he's expecting to be able to turn to his left or turn to his right to be able to speak to me in case he needs to relay some sort of information. And I'm trying to keep up. So every time I ended up behind this man. And when he told me, baby, I need you to be to my side so I can tell you information if I need to, so I don't have to stop and yada yada. And I got frustrated because I'm hot. My back hurt, my feet hurt, I'm hungry, because we had a long day of traveling. And I expressed my frustration, and I kind of, pouted and whatnot, and he didn't like that. And so he had a few choice words with me, and he expressed to me, because I said eventually to him, you're just walking so fast and yada yada. And he's like, well, then tell me. Ask me to slow down. But you don't need to give me attitude or pout. Communicate what you need from me, and I will accommodate. And so once I got over myself, I'm like, okay, I heard what he said. I'm going to do that next time. And when I did it, and it was, weeks later or however long it was, I said, baby, will you slow down, please? And he looked and he said, sure. See, that's all you had to do. And he was, happy, and we good. Come on, ladies. We want peace. We want peace. Don't always expect him to always adjust to your communication style, because he can't. He's a man, and don't expect him to. Not all the time. This is a compromise, a back and forth. But the only way to get to a common ground is to effectively communicate. Learn how to communicate with him. Right? Let's keep going.
Why would he make any changes? All of that, right? So I had to learn how to be quiet. I had to learn to pick my battles.
How did you learn? How did you learn this? Because we're not taught. So how did you learn?
I learned it from him.
Okay. You had to be obedient to him at some point.
I learned it from him.
And that's the end of the video. We'll probably go over it one more time. But yeah, this is so good. This is such a good, quick video. It has so many gems in it. And again, if you just hopped on here, this is Mrs2WeeksOut on the bottom. She and her husband are fitness coaches. They own fitness brand. They have a beautiful family. They've been married over 20 years. And she hopped on here with what I would assume is some type of femininity or relationship coach or something like that. And she asked her, some good questions. She said she had to learn to let her guard down, be vulnerable, be quiet, and learn how to communicate properly with her husband. And what did she say? I loved it. She said, I learned it from him. Where did you learn this from? Because we aren't taught. I learned it from him. He taught me. He taught me how to be the wife that he needs. So it's not that I had to change. See, the thing is, and I think it's this a feminist spirit in the Western world that for some reason, when someone says to make adjustments or change for him, that equates to like somebody is changing their complete self. Like I'm a black woman and I'm gonna be a white woman tomorrow. Like, no offense, but you get what I'm trying to say. This is not about completely changing who you are. Now, if someone expects you to completely change, red flag, red flag. But you should expect for one another to evolve because you're supposed to grow together. And as you grow, you change. Beautiful flowers outside, they didn't just start as that. They started as seeds. And then they grew roots. And then they grew the stem. And then I don't know the rest of the process, but then eventually the flower and the petals open up to what you now see as a flower. That took time, that took watering, that took growth. It took some sunlight. An entire germination process is not just overnight. Your growth process, ladies, into the beautiful flower that you want to be, is not going to happen overnight. You're going to go through rain. There are going to be some winds that may come. You're going to get sunlight. You're going to go through the necessary stages and changes in order for you to reach your potential. But you're stunting your own growth if you're not willing to put in the work, if you're not willing to learn, if you're not willing to listen to sound advice, if you're not willing to listen to this man who you claim that you want to be with. How can you expect to have a healthy relationship if you won't listen? We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, babe. Self-control is a fruit of a wise and feminine woman. Control your mouth. Control what comes out of it. Control your emotions. Stop acting like a child. Stop acting like a brat. Wah. I want what I want. He didn't say what I want him to say or do what I want him to do. I'm a princess and I should get what I want each and every time I ask for it. Wah. I thought you were a woman. I thought you were a boss, but you're over here acting like a child, an untrained child. Were you always told yes as a child? Did you always get what you wanted when you wanted as a child? That might be your problem. You're spoiled. This man is your spouse, not your father. And you better not dare to compare this man to your father because he's not your father. That man does things to you and for you that is not in the lane of your father. Put some respect on that man's name. Even if you had a wonderful father, when you become one flesh with the man, that man, your husband, comes before your father. Don't let social media cause you to get that twisted. You don't become one flesh with your father. That's nasty. That's weird. You're your father's seed. But with your husband, you bring forth his seed. These are 2 different roles. Okay. I'm just saying. This is the most people I've had in the chat, so yay! Hold on, let me do some round up applause. To these comments. The two become one, exactly. Hey, El Nixon, good to see you. Hi, Danny. Yes, go ahead and give your girl a follow. Oh, and send my likes up through the roof. Send my likes up through the roof. Send my likes up through the roof. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, y'all. Don't play your girl like that. Mrs. O said, I'm a boy mom too. 3 sons, 1 daughter. They're giving us grandchildren now. Oh, congrats, grandma. Well, congrats, Gigi, Glam Ma. Those boys are busy. Our children were stair steps. Yes. This is my 3rd year pregnant, Mrs. O. Back to back. I got to keep this man from off of me. Hi, Barry. Brittany says, if my tone starts to reach another octave and I don't immediately realize it, all he has to say is watch your tone. And I immediately close my mouth and reevaluate. He's literally taught me everything. Shout out to you guys. That's beautiful. Watch your tone. Because those octaves go up, and guess what's going to go up on his side? His anger, his irritation. And both of you are heated. Both of you are at odds with each other. That's unhealthy. Hey, Always Black. Good to see ya. Good to see ya. Hey, TKC times 2. Hey, Future King. Okay, Granny. Okay, I call my grandma Granny. So, some grandmas be like, don't call me grandma. Call me whatever, right? But yeah, so we're going to go through this one more time, and then we're going to get out of here. This is a quick stream. I'm so happy and so grateful that all of you are here. Go ahead and click the pinned link if you want to follow me on my ministry channel, on my ministry page. I've been posting content over there. So yeah, we're going to go over this video again. And here we go. Thank you, everybody, on the congratulations.
You've been married a long time. A lot of people may not know that you've been married a long time. What are some of the things you felt like you had to change about your personality in order to be more appeasing to your husband?
Absolutely, and that's a great question. I've been married for over almost 22 years now. We've been married. And for me, I had to learn how to let my guard down. I had to learn how to be completely vulnerable with him. I had to learn how to be quiet sometimes, not
That's
always.
Tough.
It is.
It are like, tell them to shut up. They won't shut up.
Why
can we not shut up?
Because I think that we just feel like we just have to be heard. Yeah. And you do have to be heard. But there's a point where, for me personally, he's the head of my household. Point blank, period. He's the head, right? And so although I need him to hear where I'm coming from, there's a way in which I have to communicate with him in order for him to hear it. So if I'm just rah-rah and I'm just going at it, and I'm not being respectful, I'm yelling, and there's just nothing being accomplished, then why would he hear me?
Exactly.
Why would he make any changes? All of that, right? So I had to learn how to be quiet. I had to learn to pick my battles.
How did you learn? How did you learn this? Because we're not taught. So how did you learn?
I learned it from him.
Okay. You had to be obedient to him at some point.
I learned it from him.
And there you have it. That is how you make it a lifetime in marriage, healthy, lasting marriage. Now, of course, I'm not there yet, but I take advice from the people who have been there and seen that, have been, through whatever me and my husband may be going through, and who can guide us through that. Couples counseling is necessary. Do it. And allow me to make a suggestion as well. If you two get into a heated conversation, sit down with each other, look at each other when each other are speaking. Don't be on your phone. Don't be watching TV. Look at this man in his face. Show that man some respect. And he should reciprocate that, right? And hold hands. That could help with the both of your temperaments and irritation and anger. But sometimes as well, if it's a touchy subject, or if one of you is getting really angry, or if you even notice that he's getting kind of like he's really triggered, it's okay to recommend that you table the conversation and to come back when the both of you are ready to have the conversation. You don't always have to just hash out your feelings right then and there, because sometimes you do need time to process. And then when the two of you come back together, you can have an even more productive conversation. You can come to some sort of resolution, and some apologies may come out of it. Oh, I'm sorry for doing this. I apologize for doing that. I realize I shouldn't have, or whatever, said this and that. And your bond is then going to become even stronger. And you'll like each other even more after that. And your friendship will be built even the more. A good, lasting marriage and relationship is built on friendship. It's built on trust. It's built on love. It's built on effective communication, compromise, apologies. You don't always have to be right. You don't always have to be right, girl. Stop always trying to get the last word. Sometimes just, okay, honey. And who knows? I do this sometimes something that really just bothers me in my heart. And I'll bring it up later and I say, I know we had our conversation, yada, yada, yada. But something you said really bothered me and I just want to express it to you. Because what I don't want to do is act sour toward him. And he's fine. Like, we good. We hash out the problem. We're back friends. But in my head, I'm just like, well, you said this, so I'm gonna hold that too. I'm gonna hold that against you for now. Don't do that. Don't harbor bitterness against him. Don't do that. That's petty. That's childish. That's toxic, ladies. So it's okay also to, bring it up, but again, be respectful. That shows vulnerability. Be able to effectively communicate how and why he made you feel that way. Even you can make a recommendation on, whatever, right? On how he could just maybe express whatever he said better. I don't know. You tailor it to whatever the conversation is, to your man, to you, all that, right? So there's no necessarily one size fit all, but the point is just be wise in the way you communicate. Don't take things too far. You can always table the conversation, listen, be gentle. Don't listen to respond, but listen to receive and retain information. Build your friendship, trust him, give him room to trust you, give him room to be vulnerable with you. Don't spew secrets. And those are ways for you to grow together. But that's all I got for you. That's all I got, guys. I appreciate all of you for being here. Amen. Thank you all of you for being here. Thank you so much, Game Changer, for your $5 donation to the platform. It is greatly appreciated. I enjoyed this conversation with all of you. Again, thank you for being here. The truth has been signed, sealed, and delivered by yours truly. What do I usually say, you guys? I haven't said it in so long. The truth has been signed, sealed, and delivered by yours truly. If you haven't already, if you like the content you see, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you know of any women who you think this content will benefit, then please share. And please feel free, ladies. If you need some coaching, if you have any questions, send them my way. Send them to my email, which is Bella Rings with 2 S's at gmail.com. And until next time, thank you so much, Chavis, and thank you for being a channel member. Shout out to you, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wonderful modding. And until next time, I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Not on my watch. Not on my watch.
I'm not engaging in this conversation with you anymore. Thank you.
The door.